So if you have content that you can produce like, a week's worth every Sunday night or every Monday morning or whenever it is, shoot those 5 videos so you have them. And that works really well for most people. However, in the current political climate, it has happened more than once to me since March of this year, 2020, that I've had to pull content because either it was tone deaf because of COVID, it was tone deaf because of Black Lives Matter. So you do have to have that kind of flexibility as a layer on top if you are posting daily, because you can't just tone deafly put out whatever.
I used to do that a lot more, and I actually miss it. I miss doing that. I used to spend a day, probably a week, where I would explore 10 topics, and I would get so much content produced, and I would just get into the flow. One of the things that actually really helped me was when I was in a co-working space. We had an office at WeWork.
Yeah.
And we kind of float throughout the space, and there's different locations, and it was kind of interesting, and it didn't feel drab or boring.
Yeah.
And I have to admit that I kind of missed that. What would you say for me to kind of get back into that? How can I sort of reactivate myself to get into that flow?
I mean, I can only tell you what works for me and what I seek work for my clients. And interesting enough is the more I am on LinkedIn, the more I interact with other people, the more I look at other people's videos, the more content I have. And either I'm being inspired by something somebody else says, which I know I can bring back that topic to the question of, how to harness video marketing, or I'll find some questions in my comments where I'm like, oh great, this person has a new question that no one has ever asked me before. Let's make a video about that, or let's make a post about that. So by being out there, whether I think it's physical and you're perusing the hallways of WeWork, or whether you are perusing the postings of your peeps on LinkedIn, it's more or less the same thing. You're just getting inspiration from what the conversation is currently. And currently the conversation is on digital media and not around the water cooler.